In the beginning of this week's parsha, the first few words, the pasuk starts off, "Ve'ela shemois b'nei Yisrael." Says the Baal HaTurim, "Ve'ela shemois b'nei Yisrael" is Rosh Tevis. V'adam asher loymid haSeder. That's the first word. Ve'ela v'adam, and a person that learns the Seder, the parsha of the week. Shmois Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. B'koil noim yasher. The third word, b'nei b'koil noim yasher. Somebody who learns the parsha Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum in a loud, in a voice, a nice voice, yasher. L'chayr means you learn it straight without any hefsek. Says the pasuk, the Rosh Tevis of Yisrael, Yichya Shanim Rabbeis Aruchim La'olam. Person will live long. These Arichas Yamim. That's what the Baal HaTurim brings. It's actually not in all Chamashim of the Baal HaTurim, but that's the Baal HaTurim's Rosh Tevis for doing Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. The Levush has a little bit of a different Rosh Tevis, just of the first two words, Ve'ela Shemois. V'chayiv Adam Likrois HaParsha. A person is required to learn, to read the Parsha, and then Shemois Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. Who should? B'nei Yisrael. So it's merumas in this week's Parsha that a person should be maavir Sedrah, do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. And the truth is that the maavir is a Gemara. The Gemara in Brachas Daf Ches Amud Aleph. The Gemara turns over to the Amud Beis. The Gemara says, Amar Rav Huna bar Yehuda, Amar Rav Ami, La'olam yashlim adam parshiyosav v'matzibur. A person should be mashlim parshiyosav, which means he should do every week to Shnayim Mikro imatzibur, follow weekly the weekly parsha. Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum, shekol amar shlim parshiyosav v'matzibur ma'arichen lo yomav v'shnoisav. Person shouldn't think that when he does Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum, it's time consuming, he's losing time, because ma'arichen lo yomav v'shnoisav, these arichas yom, see anyways, you get that time. L'maisa, in the Gemara, it's not mavur that he's a chiyuv. The Gemara says, La'olam, it's a nice thing, it's a fine zach to be maavir Sedrah, to do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. There's no chiyuv, it's an anhaga toiva. That's what it would seem from the Gemara. And the truth is, with the Rosh Tevis that we mentioned before from the Baal HaTurim, also, the Adam Ashaloim and Seder has Arichas Yam. A person that does it, it's like a skula. If you're going to do Shnayim Mikro, you'll live long. It doesn't say that you're mechuyev. The Tur as well, which is the Baal HaTurim, the Tur, when he brings down this din, this halach, and Hilchas Shabbos, Siman Reish Pei Hey, the Lashon HaTur is V'tzorech lizor lahashlim ha'parsha matzibur. Person should be careful and make sure to do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. Also, he doesn't say anything about that. He's a chiyuv. V'tzorech lizor, a person should be careful, a little stronger than just la'olam, but doesn't say any chiyuv. However, the Lashon HaShulchan Aruch, when the Shulchan Aruch brings down the din, the Shulchan Aruch says, even though that a person listens to Kriyas HaTorah, Afal Pisha Adam Shemea Kol HaTorah Kula Kol Shabbos V'tzibur Yav Kriyas HaTorah, still, says the Shulchan Aruch, Chayiv Likrois La'atzmoi B'chol Shavua Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. The Shulchan Aruch already says clearly, spells it out clearly. It's not only on Haga Toiva, a good thing, a nice thing to do, important thing to do, but rather it's a requirement, you mechuyev to do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad targum. And it's already the Lashon HaRambam. The Rambam says, Rambam in Hilchas Tvila, Perik Yud Gimel Halacha Chaf Hey, Afal Pisha Adam Shemei Kol HaTorah Kula, more or less the Lashon of the Shulchan Aruch, still Chayiv Likrois La'atzmoi, he's a Chiyuv. Before going into the halachas a little bit, just going into the concept of Shnayim Mikro, that it's a chiyuv, not just an anhaga toiva, I would like to share with the Olam what the Gedolei Hador of the previous generations spoke about the importance and that it's a chiyuv. Rav Moshe Feinstein, in his Akdama to the Sefer, he gives Askama to the Sefer called Ve'ela Shemois. It's a Sefer on Shnayim Mikro Targum. And Rav Moshe writes that it's a chiyuv midrabanan, and just like a person can't say he's too busy and he can't light Chanukah Lacht, so too, you can't say you're too busy to do Shnayim Mikro Targum. It's a chiyuv derabanan. And even people that learn, you can't say you're learning something else. Could somebody say that if he's learning, he's not going to do a certain mitzvah? It's a chiyuv derabanan to do Shnayim Mikro Targum. In Shuvas Van Haggis, Rav Moshe Sternbach Shlita brings that the Briskerov also went out on a big campaign and used to put a lot of energy in telling people that it's important and you have to do it. There's lashon shekvar tzavach al zed more nagriz on people that don't do it. It's brought that the Bercha Shmuel Baruch Ber, when he used to Friday, he used to do Shnayim Mikro Targum, his Talmidim used to come to watch, to see, to listen. So once the Talmidim asked him, Lamaisi, there's a lot of people that don't get to do it. Is there any heter? Is there any heter not to do Shnayim Mikro Targum? So he said, absolutely, there's no heter. There's no heter. You have to do it. It's a din in Shulchan Aruch. It's a chiyuv derabanan. And then he said, it could be there is a heter, and that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says that if a person does an aveira many times, nasa like a heter. So maybe that heter you have.
Can you use it for something else?
In Shevet HaLevi, the Shevet HaLevi points out as well, he has a whole tshuva, he speaks about the importance and that it's a chiyuv. And he says, if you take a look, the Rambam that we mentioned before, when the Rambam is matik, when the Rambam copies the Lashon HaGemara, usually he would copy the Lashon HaGemara. The Rambam went out of his way to, instead of what the Gemara says, La'olam, the Rambam says chayiv. So, clearly, even though from the Mashmoyis HaGemara would be mashma that it's a hanhage toiva, it's mavur clearly that it's a chiyuv for a person to do Shnayim Mikro Targum. What's the reason? What's the reason for Shnayim Mikro Targum? Why? Do we have this din derabanan to learn Shnayim Mikro Targum? So the Aruch HaShulchan explains. The Aruch HaShulchan says we say every day in davening, Lilmoy l'shmoya, Lilmoy l'lalamid. Havas olam, hava rabba. We say l'shmoya, Lilmoy, to listen and to learn. So l'shmoya, we're makayim with kriyas HaTorah. We listen to the Torah l'shmoya. What's Lilmoy? The Shnayim Mikro Targum, then we learn it. We learn the Chumash, but what do you mean we learn it? Because we do it with the Targum. The purpose of learning Shnayim Mikro Targum is not just to read it because you have to say the words. It's to learn, to understand the Chumash. And that's what that's what we have with the Targum. The Targum is an explanation on the Chumash, on the Psukim. And therefore, says the Aruch HaShulchan, one should first do Shnayim Mikro Targum, and then afterwards Kriyas HaTorah. Even though we say L'shmoya to listen and then Lilmoy to learn. But since when you listen to Kriyas HaTorah, if you haven't learned yet the Parsha, you don't understand what the Baal Korah is saying. So therefore one should be Makayim Shnayim Mikro Targum first, and then afterwards Kriyas HaTorah. We'll see soon. We'll see when's the best time to do it. But that says the Aruch HaShulchan l'shmoya and lilmoy to listen to the Torah. That's with kriyas HaTorah. But lilmoy is a Shnayim Mikro. You learn it. The chinuch already a rishon, but the chinuch is along the lines a little bit with a different twist. The chinuch says it's in the Akdama to say for a chinuch. The chinuch says that the reason why we have Shnayim Mikro Targum is because why is Talmud Torah keneged kulam? Talmud Torah keneged kulam is because when a person knows the Torah, a person learns the Torah, he knows the mitzvahs, he can be makayim mitzvahs Hashem. Therefore, says the chinuch, it's not enough with kriyas HaTorah, because with kriyas HaTorah you're not going to understand yet the Torah. Therefore, you have to learn the Torah also, and that's Shnayim Mikro Targum. So the idea and the purpose of Shnayim Mikro Targum is to understand and know the Torah. That's what Shnayim Mikro v'chatargum. It's not just saying Tehillim, it's to learn to understand the Psukim. The Chumash.
That's for sure.
Eli is asking very good. If you don't understand the Targum, I'll answer briefly now. Hopefully, we'll get to it still at the end of the shir. If not, I'll have to Be'ez Hashem be a part 2. But these discussion in the Rishonim already about maybe to do instead of Unklis to do Rashi, because Rashi we understand better. Lamaisa the Shulchan Aruch says you should do both Rashi and Unklis. But this is pretty clear, and the Chavetz Chaim said already that since Unklis back in the day when people did Unklis, they understood. Now we don't understand. A lot don't understand Unklis. Therefore, the Chavetz Chaim says pretty clearly that you're not yoitze just learning Unklis, and you have to do Rashi. But well asked, because the reason of Shnayim Mikro is to understand the Torah. So just to say it without understanding it, you miss the whole point.
Why would it be English or Russian?
What did you say?
Why would it be English or Russian?
No, it doesn't. The Mishnah.
Indian?
English or Russian.
Or Russian. Like that language you understand the best.
English, so here's like this. I want to try to focus on a different part, but I'm going to answer your question also about English. Ramosha Feinstein said that you can be Makayim, Shnayim Mikro. When you do the Rashi, you could do the Rashi in English. However, Targum one should not do in English. The Rosh already speaks about it. He doesn't speak about English, but he speaks about Laz. He brings Yesh Mefarshim that instead of Targum one could do English. Laz. But Lamaisi he argues, and he says because if you do the translation, the Laz, you miss a lot of the Targum. So there's a difference between the Targum and Rashi.
What if you have a Targum of Unklis in English?
Which they actually do. They have already. Very good. Very good.
The article's coming out.
So I don't think it would. I don't know. Very good. A good question. What's about if you have a translation on the Targum? The reason why the translation of Targum, just to translate the Torah, not the Targum in English, is a problem because there's a lot in Targum. Targum is Misinai. So there's a lot of things that you can't do just with a translation, as opposed to Rashi. Rashi is a mafarish on the Torah.
The Mishnah Berurah says they have to Rashi Likuva. He doesn't say Likuva.
How could the Mishnah Berurah can't say that? The Shulchan Aruch says Yirei Shamayim should do both. But let's get back to Rashi. I want to first get, the Yesodis, how to do it, and then the Milas will hopefully get to it. If not, we'll speak more about Riches in a future shir. But the Shulchan Aruch says, Yirei Shamayim should do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum and Rashi. How should one be Makayim Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum? When you say Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum, so the Lashon HaGemara is Kol HaMashlim Parsha Yosav and Matzibur. Parsha Yosav. So Parsha Yosav means there's an option you could do the whole Parsha Chumash, then again the whole Parsha Chumash, and then Targum, which means you do, instead of breaking it up into pieces, you do the whole entire Parsha once, twice, and then Targum. That would be the Pashtus of the Gemara. And as of a matter of fact, that's how Reb Chaim Kanevsky Shlita is noyek to do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum. They bring in the Gilyonis. That's how he's noyek to do the whole Chumash. Again, to do the whole Parsha at a time. The Mishnah Berurah brings two ways how to do it from the Achronim. The first way he brings, it's actually maybe the first or the second, he brings the Goyin and Ma'aser Rav, says to do from psuchos or stumos, which means to a pei or to a samach. That's how you break it up. In other words, when you go through the parsha from a pei to a samach, and when the Gemara says parsha Yosef, that's also parsha, like the Gemara says Vahi ben Soya is a parsha. So you do from a pei to a samach to samach, psuchos and stumos in the parsha. You don't go through the whole parsha, the whole chumash, but rather you do from a pei or to a samach, Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum. What happens in a place where it happened in Bereshis once, where there's a pei or a samach in the middle of a pasuk? So what do you do over there? says the Machzas HaShakel from the Shla, and it's also in the El Yezuta, Kias Shulchan Aruch, Aruch HaShulchan, that you do from pei to pei or to samach, and even if it's the middle of a pasuk, you stop over there, you go till the pei, till the samach, twice Chumash and Rashi, by the Seres Adibris. Wherever there's a pei or a samach, you stop over there, and you do the pei to samach, and then you do Chumash twice, and then Rashi, and Unklis, Targum. Me'idach, the Kaf HaChaim says not to do it, to do till the end of the pasuk. Brings because called Pasuk Psika Moshe. The others are not worried about it because Lamaisa there is a pei or a samach, but the Kaf HaChaim says not to. The Pashas and the Poskim, I think that's a lot of noyigis to stop. If you do this way, the Ma'aser Rav of doing peis and samachs, you actually stop in the middle of the pasuk. Another way how to do it, and that's brought in the Magen Avraham, the Shari Tshuva, is to do each pasuk. You do each pasuk Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum, and the Chumash, the Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum Chumash goes with that also. You know, they have the Chumash twice, and then each pasuk Chumash twice, and then Targum. This is how to break it up when doing it. Do you do the whole parasha? Do you do piece by piece? There's also what to speak about what order to do it. In other words, the Lashon HaGemara is Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum. Do Chumash, and then Targum. Says the Mishnah Berurah from Poskim, not to do Targum and then Chumash. Which really, that would be something mistaber to do. It would be logical to do the Targum first, because the Targum really explains the Chumash, so it's really understanding. Like this, when you learn the Chumash, you'll know what you're talking about. But the Mishnah Berurah, the Sharatzian says, if you do Chumash, Targum and Chumash, then you yoytza. Chumash, Targum, Chumash, you yoytza. The Chazon Ish, L'tchatchila used to do it like that. L'tchatchila, he used to do Chumash, Targum, and then Chumash. And he explained like this: when you do the second time, you understand what you're learning. You understand the pasuk, so therefore he did Chumash, Targum, and Chumash. But the Pashtus, the Mishnah Berurah says to do like the Pashtus HaGemara, Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum, do twice Chumash and then the Targum. If what'd you say?
Chumash first, then we know what Targum is saying.
Yeah, for us. But that way, really, so the point of Targum is to explain the Chumash. You're saying the Chumash explains the Targum.
Then you realize the Targum is saying something else, something you said.
Targum it's a translation to the Torah, but sometimes it could be a different pshat than what we would think, or even how Rashi learns.
If you didn't learn to see the Chumash first, you know there's something else going on over here.
Yeah. Now we'll handle what's the proper time to do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum. We spoke about how to do it. I mean, Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum, we haven't gone in properly into with Rashi, with the translations how to do it. But let's go with the Pasha Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum. The purpose is to learn it, to be able to understand the Torah. And we see either you could do the whole Chumash, the whole Parsha, Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum, or you do Peis to Samachs, or you do Pasuk by Pasuk. And we see the Pashtus is to do Shnayim Mikro, the whole twice, Mikro, and then Targum. When is the time to be Mekayim, to do Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum? So the first thing is, when could one start? There are people that always like to be early. They daven v'sikin, they daven the first mincha. When is the earliest? When could you start Shnayim Mikro ve'echad Targum? So Tosfos on that Gemara, Tosfos and Bracha says that since Shabbos afternoon of the parasha, let's say this week, tomorrow afternoon we're going to already start the Kriya of Va'era. So from tomorrow afternoon you could start already the next week's parasha. That's the earliest you could start. Or a person wants to be ahead, he knows he's going to have a busy week, he's going to have a next busy Shabbos, he could start already the previous Shabbos by Mincha. There's a discussion in the poskim if you actually have to bepoil daven mincha, or it's once it's the zman mincha, it's enough. It's already time that you could daven mincha. It's already the time that is kriyas Torah, which is really relevant also b'negei samchas Torah. Samchas Torah, a person is dancing a kafas. He's a little knocked out and he's on the side, so he wants to already do Shnayim Mikro of Bereshis. And it's even a gay when Samchas Torah is on a Friday, so it's a pretty short window of time. So that's really the shaila. If it's bepoil or it's the zman akriya, but that's the earliest. A person could start from Shabbos afternoon, the next week's parsha. The Shulchan Aruch brings it, and the Shulchan Aruch says, "B'yoyim siv gimel, b'yoyim rishon ve'elach chashev ha'matzibur." As long as you start from Sunday. What does it mean from Sunday? Taisa says already from Shabbos afternoon. So the Mishnah Berurah says lav dafka. Sunday lav dafka. You could start already from Shabbos afternoon. You could start the next week's parsha. What did you say? It's better not to do it by night. I think I'll pick Kabbalah. So that's besides Friday night, learning Chumash, learning, some say not to learn any night. What?
Any night or must you just any night?
I think any night. What'd you say? So we see when you could start, when the starting point is. When is the most l'tchatchila time for Shnayim Mikro v'chatargum? When is the most l'tchatchila time? So these three shitas, mainly three shitas. The first shita, the Shari Tshuva brings it, Magen Avram, Beis Yosef already brings it. It's really Alpi Kabbalah, but that's the time to do it as Friday. There's actually a big shaila Friday, whether Friday afternoon or Friday morning. There's a whole shaila what the Arizal did. The Shari Tshuva brings it over here. When to do it in Friday, but the first sheet is best time to do it is today, either this morning or this afternoon, but to do it Friday. That's the first shita. The second shita, which the Beis Yosef as well brings, and the Bir Halacha speaks about both shitas and he explains it nicely, is to start Friday and finish Shabbos. Pashas to finish Shabbos morning before davening. Is such a shita, the Zerua says that's when you should actually do it as Shabbos morning. So either to do it Friday, or to do it Friday and finish up Shabbos morning. And then there's a third shita, which is brought in Ma'aser Rav, which the Goyen did, is to do a little bit each day. Did a little bit each day. So either you do Friday into Shabbos, or every day of the week, a little bit each day. But just to bring, what?
Not at night.
Not at night. He actually did it every morning after Shachris. But just to bring out, we mentioned before that the Goyen and Ma'aser Rav used to do from Peis to Samach. He didn't do from Sheni to Shlishi. In other words, he didn't do the day of the week of the part of the Parsha. But I did see brought from Reb Chaim Kanevsky that if a person goes with this mahalach of doing every day, and he's going to get mixed up where he's holding, if he's going to start doing from Peis to Samachs, and he's not going to remember where he holds, it's hard to put on a sticky note where he's holding, he does it in shul, then he could do from Shady to Shlishi, Revi, every day, so he knows where he's holding. So this is the earliest time is Shabbos afternoon. The l'tchatchila time to do it is either every day in a week, or Friday into Shabbos.
Do you have to have daven mincha already?
What do you mean daven mincha?
Shabbos afternoon.
You're talking about the earliest time we mention is to daven, is to say it's Shabbos afternoon. It's a good shaila, and the poskim speak about it. The poskim discuss if one has to actually daven mincha, or as long as it's the zman mincha and people the time that you could already read the next parsha, it's enough. So this is all l'tchatchila when to do it. When should one be done by? When should one be done? Shnayim Mikro v'chatargum. When should he be done by? So Tosfos over there in the Gemara and Brachas, Tosfos brings a medrash that the medrash says when Rabbeinu HaKadosh was about to be nifter, he told his kids 3 things. One of the 3 things that he told his kids were that you should not eat bread on Shabbos until you're done Shnayim Mikro v'chatargum. And the Shulchan Aruch Harav explains that the bread we're talking about, the challah, is talking about Shabbos morning. We eat challah tonight as well, but a person should not start a Suda Shabbos morning before he's done Shnayim Mikro. L'chayra, because the lashon is lechem. L'chayra, you're right, unless it's l'chayra, you're right. You can make kiddush, but l'chayra, the Suda. But the poskim, of course, bring that a person shouldn't push off his meal, not after chatzos, and a person shouldn't, okay, I'm going to eat 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I didn't do Shnayim Mikro v'chatargum yet. So the l'tchatchila time is to do it during the week, Friday into Shabbos, but you should be done by the Suda. What happens if you didn't do it by the Suda? So then these 3 deadlines afterwards, so to speak, b'di'evid. The first best time to finish up is by Shabbos afternoon mincha, because Shabbos afternoon mincha, the tzibur already is moving on to the next parsha. Just like we mentioned that tomorrow afternoon you could start already va'era, because it's already starting the next parsha. So tomorrow, if you didn't finish yet Shemois, try to finish it before mincha. If you didn't finish it by mincha, says the Shulchan Aruch Yesh Oimrim, you could still do it during the next week up until Wednesday, because the first 3 days of the week is still part of Shabbos, still part of the week before. These certain halachas, you can make Havdalah up until Wednesday, means not Wednesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, still part of the previous week. So maybe you could do Shnayim Mikro also up until Wednesday not included. And what happens if a person did not do, he still didn't do it in the day, and then says the Shulchan Aruch, you have Hashlama up until Simchas Torah. So just to sum up what we had, the reason for Shnayim Mikro, and that's very important, the reason for Shnayim Mikro is that a person should learn the Chumash, to understand, to know the Torah, to be familiar with the Torah. We saw that these ways how to do it, to break up the parsha. Either you could do the whole parsha, Peita, Samach, or pasuk by pasuk. The pashta says you should do the Chumash, then again the Chumash, and then the Targum. We saw that you could start doing it as early as Shabbos afternoon for the next week. The best time to do it is either Friday, finish Shabbos, or every day of the week. And then you should do it l'tchatchila no later than Shabbos morning, the Suda. And if you didn't do it, you could do it Shabbos afternoon, if not up until Wednesday, and if not up until Simchas Torah. What we did not cover, some of many topics that are still negaya, and hopefully there'll be a future shir about it. One is, which we spoke briefly about, since the idea of learning Shnayim Mikro v'chatargum is to understand. So what's the way of understanding it? Targum, Rashi. And also, an important is about Hashlama. When, let's say, a person missed a parsha, he's 2 weeks behind. So what should he do? Should he do that parsha and then the other parshas? Or mashlam means you have to do it in order. Those Be'ez Hashem will handle in a future time. Have a wonderful Shabbos.